Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be logging in from. My name is Erin McDonald, and I'm part of the staff here at UCD Global. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We are delighted to announce a new graduate program offered through the UCD Clinton Institute in partnership with the CNN Academy. So the CNN Academy UCD Clinton Institute MA in Journalism and International Affairs is a brand new world first class graduate program. We are going to begin enrolling students in the January 2022 intake, and it's a one-year program that combines world's leading journalism training with academic expertise in international affairs. It's super exciting because this is the first master's program that CNN has co-designed in collaboration with a university partner, and places are very limited on the program, so we do expect to fill up soon. Here today, we have my colleagues from both UCD and CNN who will give us an overview of the program and speak about the opportunities that students will have throughout the program. We have my colleague Liam Kennedy from the UCD Clinton Institute and Ali Reza Hosseini from CNN Academy. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to submit them in the Q&A section and we'll try our best to get through them. If you have any queries after the webinar or if you're watching the recording, you're welcome to send them to internationalinquiries@ucd.ie after the session, and we'll be happy to assist you from there. So without any further ado, Liam, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Erin. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us from wherever you are in the world today. It's great to have an opportunity to share information on this new program, which, as Erin says, we're very delighted about, very pleased to be launching. As she also noted it will be in January of 2022, this launch. So please do be aware of that start time. It's a very new program for us at UCD. In many ways, it's very new also for CNN. I mean, essentially, this is a collaboration where we've put our ideas together, we've put our heads together, and we've thought about how can we bring some of the best of international journalism to real academic expertise so that we can, think about and understand international affairs and international change, but also really get to grips with the skills that are required to transmit that understanding in the form of news in the 21st century and all the challenges that are being faced by the news industry today. Those are all considerations that we've taken on board in the creation of this program. We think it's not just new, we think it's innovative, we think it's exciting. A lot of that has to do with this core collaboration, UCD, CNN, but at the heart of that, the collaboration between the Clinton Institute, of which I'm the director, and the CNN Academy, of which my colleague Ali Reza is director. So we've brought our resources together, we've brought our minds together, but very different skill sets together. And it's that connection that's at the heart of this particular program. And just before Ali gives us a real run through the details on that, I really want to emphasize that this is not a program where CNN has come along and said, hey, you academics, go and do this. They've come along and they've sat down and worked out with us how we can have a program that is really 50-50 industry and university. I think that is different and that is distinctive. The hands-on element here from CNN is terrifically exciting. Ali, over to you.
Thank you, Liam, and thank you everyone for joining and for being with us today. One of the sort of main things that sort of we wanted to talk about was what is the program? How does it run? What are the parameters? And what we hope you will be getting out of this program. I'm just going to go ahead and share my presentation with you again. And as Liam said, this is a true collaboration between CNN Academy and UCD Clinton Institute. I don't know if the audio is working on this one or not. Liam, do you have the audio on this one?
No, we don't have it, Ali.
Well, I can't.
From war zones,
there we go.
They're not just lobbing stuff at each other, they're trying to take each other's territory.
To marking the most important moments of our time, going there and being there first.
What we've seen here today, it's all a result of a conspiracy theory, and it's playing out in the streets of the nation's capital.
And now, it's your chance to learn from the undisputed news leader in the world, right in the heart of the Irish capital, Dublin. Introducing CNN Academy and University College Dublin's Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. An immersive graduate programme combining world-class journalism education with industry-led practical training and expertise. Discover what is impacting our world and how you can report stories objectively for a global audience. Engage with the very best of the legacy brand that is CNN and the academic expertise of University College Dublin's Clinton Institute. The Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. Your stepping stone to a career in journalism, politics, or business. You have arrived at the capstone. Come and start your journey with us.
So just before we get into the program, well, what is it that we're doing at CNN? Why is it that we have launched CNN Academy? We believe journalism matters. That's why we want to play an active role empowering the next generation of global journalists. And we've been doing this for a number of years. Since 1989, CNN has been training affiliate journalists from around the world through our CNN fellowship programs. More than 1,200 journalists have gone through. They have met with CNN executives, learned CNN best practices and what CNN does on a daily basis and how they can apply it in their own sort of unique situations and within their own newsrooms. So what we want to do now is take that legacy of training journalists and marry that up with the academic rigor of a university partner such as UCD, such as the Clinton Institute. And a lot of the studies that are out there suggest that for a lot of young people or people who are shifting into journalism, one of the key moments is that first job where they get practical experience within a newsroom on how to do storytelling, how to do journalism, how to do news gathering. What we want to do is we want to give you that practical training. We want to open the door into the industry for you via this co-branded MA program and allow you to sort of get that experiential learning from CNN and CNN journalists and combine that with the academic learning that you will get from UCD Clinton Institute. Throughout the program, you're going to learn, you're going to connect with CNN producers, journalists, and you're going to produce. The production part is key here. We want you to apply what you're learning from a theoretical perspective on an ongoing basis on projects. So in the first trimester, for example, you might be working on audio storytelling. How do you produce a podcast? Newsletters. How do you write newsletters? At CNN, for example, we have 25 different newsletters that our audience can subscribe to. What is the key success to a newsletter? How do you write one? How do you engage with your audience? Then in the second trimester, and especially for your final project, which Liam and I will talk about, you will have the opportunity of taking those skills, applying video storytelling skills, and work on a multi-platform project. So throughout this entire experience, you're going to learn, connect, and produce. One of the sort of main things that is very important on this course is the rare opportunity that you're going to have, not only with engaging with CNN journalists, but also for having your final project that you produce during the co-branded MA appear on CNN platforms. This piece right here, I'll play it, but I'll put it in, I'll put the volume down. This is a piece that was produced by one of our graduates from the CNN Academy Abu Dhabi. And this piece actually aired on Connect the World with Becky Anderson, which is CNN's flagship show out of the Middle East and out of our Abu Dhabi broadcasting hub. So this student, Sari Khalid, was able to produce this piece and then have this piece air on CNN primetime show. This same opportunity is going to apply to you during the program. A real rare opportunity to have your work feature on CNN. Now, this is obviously on TV. You also have the opportunity, depending on your project and your work, for it to appear on CNN Digital as well. Now, what's the student journey throughout this process? Again, CNN is going to be in the classroom with you every week. In trimester 1, trimester 2, you're going to have the CNN newsroom. That's a 2-hour seminar each week delivered either by CNN Academy trainer, which in the case of Dublin, oftentimes it will be myself, or by a CNN journalist who's going to be in person in the classroom or join virtually. These will range the whole gamut of the newsroom. So there'll be digital producers, audio producers, there'll be people who are on air, and people who are producing for them in the field, and more importantly, in the control room. You're going to connect with CNN's global content via the CNN news source. So anything CNN produces, you will have access to, and you will be able to use in anything that you might produce. And more importantly, as discussed, you're going to apply that knowledge, apply what you're learning from CNN journalists on projects throughout the entire course. This is the CNN track. Then you have to add on top of that, that key academic rigor that CNN is going to sort of team up with the UCD Clinton Institute to bring about. And Liam, I don't know if you wanted to sort of give a bit more on that, especially as we move along the academic year through the different trimesters.
Thanks, Ali. Well, everyone will see in front of them here the words trimester 1, 12 weeks, trimester 2. So our academic year is split into 3 trimesters. The teaching, the modules are in trimesters 1 and trimester 2. So given that this is a January start for next year, you will be looking at trimester 1 beginning in January and running through to April. Trimester 2 then picking that up and running for 3 months. And then the final section, trimester 3, is when you'll focus on a thesis, a multimedia or text-based thesis, which Ali and I will talk about in a moment. But just back to these trimesters and what you will do in a given week. Your modules are normally 1 hour to 2 hours in length. 2 hours would be normative. Occasionally they will be longer if there are special exercises that have to be set, but that would be a normative length, as Ali was saying, and with reference to the CNN Academy newsroom as an example. Alongside these very experiential hands-on training elements that CNN bring, UCD is also teaching a number of modules that are more theoretical, more academic, but obviously linked up to the training modules as well. So for example, in trimester 1, everyone will take a module titled Journalism and International Affairs. And that's a module which will look at the history and the political economy of international news and international journalism. Where has that emerged from and how has it emerged? What are the politics and economics of that emergence, especially as that is changing under conditions of, new technology revolutions in the 21st century. There's a new political communications revolutions happening around us. How does what we call news adapt to that? So we'll be looking at that in terms of politics, economic, cultural, and social issues, which of course are going to be incredibly important in contextualizing the kind of training and skills-based study and workshopping that you'll be doing at CNN. You will also take on research skills and methods classes in both of the trimesters. And these are important to helping you also begin to develop possibly the most important component of all of this, and that is your multimedia or text-based thesis. This will be an opportunity to try out ideas in that in the first trimester, and then within the second trimester to take on a relationship, a hands-on relationship with the people who will help really mold that into a thesis, whether that's text-based or whether it's multimedia-based. We will have a team of people who will help advise you in the first instance, and then you will have a supervisor who will help you through that all the way through production and the presentation of that at the end of your first academic year. Ali, the multimedia thesis, I think, particularly attractive to students looking at this program. Could you say a little bit more about that? Because again, there's a very hands-on CNL involvement in that.
Absolutely. What we want to do is we want students on the course to have a real sense of how a newsroom operates. So for that multimedia final project, they are going to pitch the story ahead of time to a panel with CNN journalists and academics from the Clinton Institute. So they need to think about the story. What is it? How does it resonate with the global audience? And more importantly, how do they want to approach it? What's unique about their angle? Then they're going to take the skills that we sort of equip them with, and they're going to go out and they're going to shoot that story, edit that story, put that story together, write that story, and script that story. So, but the entire process will be akin to what you do in an actual newsroom when you are working on a story. So throughout the year and throughout the especially the sort of second and third trimester, we will be able to replicate the workflows of a newsroom when it comes to that multimedia final project. And it's multimedia. It doesn't only have to be a video, or it doesn't have to be just a write-up. It could be a combination of both, or different elements. And then we will see if we can team you up with CNN journalists that are either working on a similar project or within the same sort of topic or expertise bucket, and how you can sort of work with them to improve your storytelling. But by the end of it, you're going to come out with a product that will have had CNN supervision and CNN guidance, and that ideally will meet CNN's global standards.
I think that's a terrific opportunity for anyone taking the course. It gives you great access to CNN personnel and expertise and resources. And I think if you're building a CV to move into the industry, that's a really key component part. Just moving on now to the entry requirements. Of course, much more detail on all of this on our website, and please do look at that in terms of entry requirements, because it's important that you see exactly what is required for that. But the basics are here in front of you in terms of what we seek in terms of your either your first degree, or, and I want to emphasize this, for those who perhaps are already advanced into a career or are thinking of a career switch and perhaps don't have a relevant first degree, or some time ago since you did that degree. If you have a work experience which is clearly relevant to this program and the kind of future it can offer, then we will look carefully and sympathetically at applications that come from those sources. We also have a note there on the English language requirement, but again, more detail on all of that on the website. Our admissions are staged. That is in part because, as Ali's have already noted, we anticipate this is a competitive course for not a large number of students. This is not going to be a mass course of hundreds of students. It's small, it's hands-on, it's bespoke, and that's why we are setting out this staged approach to applications. So the first tranche of applications will be decided on by the 6th of August, and if there are if we're still seeking students, we will then roll the applications forward until the 1st of October. So those dates are not so very far away. But again, please look at all of the details about admissions. There are particular materials that we require you to present for admissions. So look at all of that carefully, and if any queries arise, please let us know. But we're looking forward to seeing those materials. And finally, in terms of the fees and the scholarship, the fees are the same for students in any part of the world. It's at 25,000 euros. That's not different. It doesn't matter where you are. That's what the fee is. We believe it is a competitive fee in terms of looking at leading journalism and media programs around the world. But we think that this is a very innovative program. We think that the elements that Ali in particular has talked about with the CNN involvement are unique, and certainly in terms of the production of this relationship in an English language university. This is a first. So we're also aware, of course, that is quite a significant outlay for any student in any part of the world. So we've been keen to create scholarships that can support some of the applicants, and we have been able to do that, and these scholarships will be in place from January of the coming year. And so a number of these will be available. They are very competitive. Again, there are a series of outlines here and guidelines about how you should apply, but there will be scholarships of 10,000 euros, a set number of them, competitively available. So please look up the details on those as well on our website. And again, if any queries, please let us know. But Ali, I think now we really should seek some questions and comments. What do you think?
Absolutely, and one of the things that Liam, we didn't mention is, I mean, we did, but one of the things that I would want to highlight is that access that students are going to get, access to working journalists who are dealing with trends, ideas, different workflows. How are we changing the way we are doing our storytelling? Has the pandemic impacted any way that we go about our daily basis? So these are conversations that they're going to have with journalists who are actually working. Now, a lot of students might also ask, well, listen, what does this mean? If I do this course, does that mean that I'm going to automatically get a job with CNN? No, but employability is a key element of the way that we have structured and designed the entire course. We want you to be empowered, to have the skills that when you walk into any newsroom, be it CNN or anywhere else, and they ask you, hey, what is it that you can do? It's great that you have this MA, but what does that mean? Well, you're going to be able to answer that by saying, well, I know how to cut a video. I know how to produce a podcast. I know how to write a story. I know what makes a good story. And I know that because I've spent an entire year discussing, engaging, collaborating with CNN journalists. So I think that's about where we are, and the floor is open to any questions or any queries that you might have.
I'll encourage questions as well. I'll just add to what Ali has said, that whilst we anticipate that many people who come forward will move forward into the international news industry, we're also very conscious that that industry is broader and more diffuse than ever before. It's not just including CNN and obviously the likes of BBC and Al Jazeera. There's a large number of international government organizations and NGOs out there who are also employing and need the skill sets that come with international news gathering, production, and information. So there's the employability aspect is something we have a very central eye on as we develop this course and as we deliver it. And the last thing I'll just say there is that we're also creating a space within our building at UCD in Dublin, which is very much going to be the CNN newsroom on campus, as it were. And Ali, that's an exciting element of what we're doing. Would you mind just saying a few words on that?
Absolutely, and we have a question from Indira that I'll get to, but yes, I mean, we're very excited to have our own CNN Academy space at the Clinton Institute. It will be a space for the students at all times, during lectures, before and after lectures, they'll have access to it. It will be a CNN, it will be a mini CNN newsroom where you'll be able to monitor CNN and our digital output at all times, and where we will be delivering not only the theoretical discussions, but also the practical discussions. And Indira, to your point, I mean, the start of this is January 2022. We hope by then that the sort of access to campus and access to bringing students together is going to be much better than what it is maybe right now. And so we don't necessarily believe the pandemic will impact the practical side. Plus, a lot of stuff that we're doing in our newsroom right now is modifying our workflows to ensure that we can still carry on doing what we do with social distancing and with sort of online settings. So no, the quick answer is we don't think that the pandemic will impact the practical side of the course.
No, of course, one has to add to that, we cannot foresee the future. But in part of the planning of this course, part of the reason why we were happy to have a January start, which can be a little unusual, is that we felt that this gave us a much better opportunity to have a course that begins physically and practically and in situ. And we're very hopeful that will be the case because we're beginning in January.
Eric has a question about, does the course involve those who work in digital and print journalism? If you come from a print background or a digital background, this course is certainly open to you. Our conversations are multi-platform. Obviously, we're not a print outfit, but we are a multimedia organization. We have podcasts, we have our digital offering, we have our social offering, and of course we have our TV offering. So we do recommend, if you want to also, as part of your application, submit any journalistic work, that's totally welcome, and it will be fantastic to see that as well as we go through the applications.
Ali, there's another one coming through. Will students work primarily with Irish and EU CNN staff, or will CNN staff members from other countries join in teaching the course as well? You're better situated than I, Ali, to answer that.
I mean, CNN is a global outfit, as you know, Aaron, and we will be using and utilizing CNN journalists from across the world to help deliver this. And one of the things that we know that we've been able to do over the past year and a half is to really tap up and take advantage of our global network and bring in those expertise via the sort of the mediums that we are using right now, for example. But yes, of course, there will be a lot of engagement with the CNN journalists across the EU, but it's not limited to CNN journalists across the EU, and it will be global.
Thanks, Ollie. There's another one that's come in here, a question. What are the prerequisites with respect to the academic background of the applicant? Well, we have not defined a disciplinary field that we believe our students will come from. We think it's going to be potentially very broad. We assume that many will come from humanities, social science, political science. Those would be the more obvious disciplines. But I would also anticipate there will be interest beyond that, given the nature of this course. So we are not setting a disciplinary identity for the students who apply to us. We're looking for the quality of that application. That's going to be absolutely essential. And that quality will not be just in the results that you've already achieved. It will be represented in the materials that you sent us. In some instances, those materials will be very creative, and we're looking forward to seeing that. The exceptional, I think, and outstanding nature of students who come to this course will not be bound by their discipline of their first degree. It's going to be really realized through the imagination and creativity of what they're doing and what they hope to do in the future. Just looking here to see if there are any more questions. So if there are any more comments or questions, please do get them to us. I'm very happy, and I know Ollie will be as well, to be available at a later point for any emails or any comments that come through, or if people want any follow-up conversation. Very happy to make yourselves available. This is a new exciting program for us, and in a sense we're part of a learning curve too. So every time we get a question, every time we get a comment, it makes us think about what we're doing and where we're going and where we're taking this. So we're really pleased to engage either directly today or at a later point.
Well, best of luck with the application. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We look forward to seeing some applications from folks today. Take good care. Bye-bye for now.